So I met him when I was 14, and actually that's not true. I met him when I was like 10, and he was like 11 because he's like 3 months older than me, whatever, at that time. And we danced together in ICS, and that's how we met. And I don't remember meeting him. He remembers meeting me. I just always remember knowing him, but I don't remember actually meeting him. And we danced together for a really long time, and he was always the kid that I chased down the hallway and picked on because he was really nerdy, and he wore a really ugly brown jacket, and I'd always scream like, Bill, Bill, and I would just like make fun of him all the time. And I'm pretty sure he was scared of me for the majority of our friendship because he would run down the hallway as I chased him. And I don't know, I guess it's like the kindergarten theory. I guess by picking on him so much, I started liking him. And he was always the guy I was just like, ew, I would be like gross. I would never date this guy. Like, he's weird, he's a nerd, and he's just not my type. He's actually exactly what I want in a guy, which is pretty interesting, I guess. And we didn't think it was gonna last as long as it did, but it's been 2.5 years, and we started dating when I was 14 and he had just turned 15, and now I'm 17 and he's 17. I told him straight up that I didn't want to do anything until I was married, and he was like, okay. I think it's better to wait for marriage because then you have a committed relationship. You know that we've been together for so long and the relationship isn't purely physical, it's emotionally based, and you know you're in it for the right reasons. You're not just in a relationship because you want some. Like, you're in a relationship because you truly love the person and you truly enjoy their company and want to be with them. And that's what a relationship should be about. It shouldn't be about the nastiness, it should be about the lovey-dovey. And I also told him this straight off the bat, and he was like, okay. I mean, he doesn't necessarily agree that you have to wait till marriage. He thinks like, oh, maybe in college. But I told him marriage, and he said, okay, I respect anything that you want, and we'll do that. And I said, yeah, we will.
You should have sex when you're ready, when the person's right, when the time is right. If you feel like you're rushed even a little bit, then the time is not right. You should feel comfortable in a stable relationship. You should feel safe, and you shouldn't have any worries that, oh, if I get pregnant or something goes wrong, then what could happen? If you're able to take care of the consequences that happen after you have sex, then possibly you're ready. But in high school, when, you know, you're young, you're going through puberty, you are a child. A child cannot have and raise another child. It just can't happen. And I just feel like the only way to know you won't get pregnant is being abstinent.
If I was gonna get pregnant, like, I don't feel like now is the right time for sure. I would want to wait till I was in a stable marriage with a stable income to provide for that child. And if anything was to go wrong, I know I wouldn't abort the baby, so I feel like I'd rather just have sex when it's time to, and when I'm in a committed relationship and I know that if something were to happen, it would be the right time and I'd be ready for something to happen. I want to have sex when I know that if a baby were to be brought in this world, or if something wasn't going to go according to plan, I'd still be ready for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, right now, I'm not ready to have a kid. And I love you, and that doesn't mean I don't love him. It just means that we're not ready to take that next step and consummate our relationship. What if we have sex and then we break up? I would feel empty. I would feel like I gave you everything. And what do I have to show for it? Like, I don't have anything to show for our relationship just because we had sex. That didn't bring us closer. I mean, it might have at the time, but what if it turns purely physical then, you know? I feel like if you wait till you're married, you know you're in the relationship with the person for the right reasons. My opinion of the media and sex is that it almost glorifies sex, and teen pregnancy, like the shows, like they're getting paid for those shows. They're not even reliable. Like, you can't take those as like accurate descriptions of what being a teen mom is, because you're also getting paid millions of dollars on the side to put your life on camera. And I think that in terms of my friends, that they don't necessarily agree with having sex in high school.
Just because in the movies they portray that all teenagers are horny and are having sex and making out and whatnot, that isn't, you know, how you should feel. I mean, in my circle of friends, we don't feel like that. We're young, we're having fun, we're beginning to get into relationships. That's a big step in a relationship that I don't know, that you shouldn't have to think about in high school. Or maybe you think about, but it should be later on in a relationship. You're young, you're still living life. You know, you have to think about just like your future and how could it affect it.
I definitely, none of us feel like teen pregnancy, like we think can be avoided. And we think it should be avoided because no teenager is exactly well equipped to handle a family at this age. You don't have a job, or even if you do have a job, how are you gonna balance work with kid, plus homework, plus social life? Like, it doesn't all add up. And like, you don't wanna stick your parents with the burden of having to raise another kid once they're about to be done already, you know? And financially, it's a big burden too. Like, if you don't have a job, how are you gonna support that baby? If birth control were to fail, or if you forgot to take a dose, but like, it's so easily accessible that you're just like, oh, I'll just buy birth control and have tons of sex, like whatever. But like, it's so easily accessible. Let's say you forget to take it at home, birth control's not gonna work. And like, condoms are like $5 or whatever. Yeah, safe sex is better than not safe sex, but if you're not ready for the consequences of sex, you shouldn't be having sex. If you're buying contraception, yes, I understand, like, you want your relationship to be taken to the next level and feel that closeness, but if you're not ready to be having sex, or you're not ready for the consequences of that, you shouldn't be doing it. You need to prepare yourself for every outcome possible. What if the condom fails? Like, nothing is 100% effective.
But I feel like high school students shouldn't have to worry about all of that because they already have so much on their plate as it is already. And first of all, the first thing on your plate should be that you want to graduate high school and not have to worry about having sex. And imagine if you do get pregnant, then both of you guys are the parents of a young child, and all anyone ever wants is for their child to be safe and happy and have an amazing life. If you have a child while you're in high school, you can't give your child all of that.
People shouldn't take sex so lightly. It's a pretty big decision in your life, especially in a teenager's life. I know there are so many people who just do it because they think everyone else is doing it, but that shouldn't be the way you think about sex, that it should be done in high school, that just like, oh, everyone's doing it, so I should do it too.
I mean, I feel like in high school, you don't take a lot of things seriously, especially sex, because of the way the media portrays it. And especially for guys, like, having sex is cool, having sex makes you a man. Like, they refer to it as, has she made you a man yet? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's so immature. Like, you don't need to have sex to be a man. I think it takes more of a man to withhold from having sex than it does to have sex. And I think especially in high schools, when you don't take it seriously, you're not going to be ready for the serious consequences of having sex. And if you're not ready for that, you're not only screwing up another child's life, but you're screwing up your relationship too. Like, what if the girl turns out to be pregnant and you're just like, I was just in this for the sex, like, or this isn't a thing. Or if it's friends with benefits and no one's gonna help you raise that baby, or no one's going to be there with you.
When you're in high school, one little screw up can mess up your whole life. If you just one night hang out with a guy that you barely know and have sex, and then it turns out you're pregnant, that's gonna change your whole life. You have to think about the things, the aftermath of what could happen when you have sex.
Like, there's someone in our high school now, a freshman, or an 8th grader even, who's pregnant and just had an abortion like it was nothing. I get that she wasn't ready, but then why did you have sex in the first place if you weren't ready? And she's gonna look back on that, or you're gonna look back, if any high school student would look back if they have sex with their, like, I know someone who had a lot of sex with her boyfriend because she thought they'd be together forever, and he broke up with her this year. How is she supposed to feel? She feels lied to and cheated. That she thought this was a, long-term thing, and he broke up with her and they had sex and she gave him everything, and he's not there anymore. Like, I feel bad. And I'm sad for those people, and that's why I'm so protective about it, because my virginity is the one thing I have right now that's just mine, no one else's. And no one can take it away from me until I'm ready to let them, and that's something I can control. And I'm not ready to let go of that yet, and some people think they are, and then they turn out not to be, and then they want that back, and that you can't get it back.
Give me a second, I I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom, getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she is waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun.
My virginity is precious.
It's something I'm not ready to give up yet.
It is special to me.
It's something that I won't give up to just anyone.
It's sacred to me.
Is not something I'm going to give up in high school.
Is something I respect.
Is something I'm proud of.
We can burn brighter.